Hi and welcome, I'm Fly and today I'll be reviewing Maul Peak. So before we start, I'd like to thank the publisher, Pencil First Games, for sending me this review copy. Thank you so much, guys. Now, this is an asymmetric, two-player head-to-head game where it puts a small group of creatures against a huge, towering behemoth guardian. Maul Peak is actually the sequel to Skulk. Both games in the same fantasy setting, same universe, except in one of them you have foxes, fox heroes, and in this one you have bears. This game is from the same designer as Role Player, which I really like, and I was really curious about this one. I didn't know much about the publisher before Skulk, and apparently this designer does some other games for this publisher like Herbaceous and Whatnot Cabinet. This game, it looks like it has its own system, and by this I mean if you know how to play one, you know how to play all of them. And although it's asymmetric, if you know how to play one side, you know how to play the other side. And despite the fact that each guardian plays very differently, if you know how to play one of them, you know how to play all of them. This is a very simple game in which you're just trying to defeat one another. For the hero player, there's just one way to do that, which is destroy the guardian. The guardian player, you can either eliminate all small folk from the map, or try to achieve the guardian's special win condition. So the hero player starts with a few units on the map, you don't start with all of them of course, just a couple of them, and you'll have the chance to summon more. The way you do this is by paying rage. The rage is these red cubes you spend, so you spend them and you get to summon a new character. So you place the card in front of you and you place the matching unit on the map. On your turn you'll have these many cards in your hand and these many actions. And besides moving, these are all the actions the hero player can do. And the way you do this is by playing a card. Each card you play is an action, and typically for each card you'll have a top and a bottom action. And on your turn, when you play a card, you'll pick one of them and resolve the action. So over here I'm using the magic action on my herbalists to gain 3 rage. Rage is these red cubes, they go in the pool first because they're not available yet. At the end of my turn they go into the bank. And finally, I'm using my third action to play this card as a move action. And there you go, it's that simple. Afterwards, everything I've played goes to the discard pile, and then I drop back up to my hand limits. And of course, this is true for both sides. So the Guardian player also has their hand of cards, their amount of actions, and all their available actions on the right hand side of their player board. Their own deck and their own Guardian board. Now, how do you go about fighting each other? For the Guardian, it's pretty easy, he just squashes everything. But how do the hero players manage to hurt such a huge monster? Well, when you have a character in the same ground space as the Guardian, you can play a card with a leap action. What this does is it allows you to jump and grab on to the leg of the monster. So now you can hack at will with melee attacks. Of course, ranged characters will be attacking from a distance and won't need to do this. So you'll be chipping and deal small damage to the monster every time you attack, damaging one of its parts. When all of the parts with that same name have been damaged, that spot becomes disabled, meaning from now on you can no longer do the matching action from your cards. Once every location on the Guardian has been fully damaged, the heroes win the game. And the Guardian wins the game by removing the last creator from the map, or by achieving their own special victory condition. In this box you have 4 Guardians, and besides each own's special abilities, you have to consider also each Guardian's special victory condition. So you'll have a lot of replayability here. Because each Guardian has their own mechanics and their own complexity rating, so you'll want to start out easy and make your way through the more complex Guardians. In the hero's side you'll have these Winter Beasts to choose from. Each of them has their own special abilities. Although they all use this generic meeple figure. Oh man, this is such a fun game. I mean, from the Guardian's point of view, I always try to go for the special win condition and try to exploit my opponent's weaknesses. There's always a way to make it work, and it's really fun to figure out that puzzle. From the hero side it's very thematic when you run and jump and grab onto the monster's leg and then you can whack all the way. I really like that, and it's really fun to figure out which parts to attack first, which monsters, which Guardian's abilities to shut down first. Because that's really important, it can make or break the game for the heroes. They also sent me this small Ancient Relics expansion for the game. This mini expansion just adds a bunch of cards with the various locations on the map, and you draw one of these cards and add one of these tokens to that location. These are now up for grabs. This just gives you a free action to the player who picks it up. And they also sent me this World of Boor Runes and Ruins. This is a single player adventure set between Skulk and Maul Peak. This is not an expansion, this is just a small adventure, a card-driven game, like choose-your-own-adventure style game. This is a one-shot campaign in which you'll be drawing cards one after another. By the way, I'm not showing you any spoilers here, this is not even the final setup. So you'll be drawing cards, and each card you'll have a few choices on them, you'll pick one of them, and then you'll move on. You'll be scratching things off too. And in the end, this is really cool, it adds something you can use to play in the base game, either Maul Peak or Skulk. Now, if you own both games, you can mix and match them as you like, but you can also do an epic 2 vs 2 team match. So my main concern when they come up with these kinds of games, is it balanced? Because being an asymmetric game, of course, there's a lot of variables, and for these specific matchups like 2 vs 2, in which you can mix and match, there's even a ton more of variables. I mean, it feels balanced, but I have not delved enough into the 2v2 mode to confirm whether or not it's true. But there's a few things you need to have into consideration, and it almost always falls down on the Guardian side, because you can't just pair up 2 random Guardians and hope for the best. Otherwise, the hero team is going to win. You need to take into account both of the Guardians' win conditions and work together some kind of strategy to make one of them happen. Now, component-wise, the production of this game is through the roof. I mean, everything is just beautiful. The rulebook is very well made, very clear. The box is way bigger than it needs to be. This is actually a very small game in a big box, but there's a really cool thing though about this. So in the box you have each of these small boxes which holds the cards you need. So the hero players just take the hero box, the Guardian players picks and takes one of these boxes, and that's it. Inside here you have all you need to play your chosen characters. Gameplay time in the box says 40 minutes, that's fairly accurate for maybe a first time playing, but as you get more experience with it, you can shave it off to 20 minutes, 30 at most. So this is a very user-friendly game, it's very simple, it's very easy to get to the table and set up, because everything you need is inside one of these boxes. I really like asymmetric games, but this genre of games tend to be quite complex, but not this one. I really appreciate what they did here with the theme and all, and because of that, you can play this game with pretty much anyone. So if you don't own either Maul Peak or Skulk, which one should you get? It all comes down to personal preference, honestly, because do you like foxes or bears better? You can't go wrong with either one. So for me, this is a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I love this game. If there's just 2 of us and I'm in the mood for something fun, light and fast, this is the game I'm going to pull. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and until next time.